way up in the Indian Himalayas, tucked away in this incredible forest of giant cedar trees, there's a temple that is just completely unique. It's a place with this deep, spiritual vibe, but it's not dedicated to a god you might know. It's for a goddess with a really unusual, kind of mysterious past. And her story, well, it's this fascinating mix of myth, nature, and even royalty.
And this is where it gets really interesting, because the big paradox here, the thing that makes this place so compelling, is that this ancient, deeply revered sanctuary is dedicated to Hidimba Devi, a figure who, according to the myths, actually started her life as a Rakshasi, a fierce, forest-dwelling demoness.
So that begs the question, right? How in the world does a character from the absolute fringes of mythology, an outcast, become the divine protector for a whole kingdom and all its people? Well, the answer is a story that's literally carved into the wood, the stone, and the landscape of the Himalayas itself.
To even begin to understand this mystery, you've got to start by just looking at the temple. I mean, its design is the very first clue that tells you we're dealing with something totally different here.
You know, when you picture a classic Indian temple, your mind probably goes to these huge, grand structures of stone and marble, like you see on the left. But the Hidimba Devi temple? It's something else entirely. It's this four-tiered pagoda built almost completely out of wood, and it honestly looks more like something you might find in East Asia than in North India. It's just striking.
So let's zoom in on some of these incredible features. That four-level pagoda roof is just so distinctive, a huge departure from the norm. The whole thing is built from local deodara cedar wood, and get this, the doors are covered in these insanely detailed carvings of gods and myths. And right nearby, there's even a small, separate shrine to her son, Gatotkaja, which is a little hint at the deeper family story we're about to get into.
And you know, this design isn't just for looks. It is a masterclass in adapting to your environment. Those sloped roofs, they're perfect for shrugging off the super heavy Himalayan snow. And using deodar wood, it's naturally flexible, which helps the whole building withstand earthquakes in a pretty active seismic zone. And of course, its location, deep in a forest, connects it back to these really ancient traditions of nature worship. Its form and function just working in perfect harmony.
Okay, so we've seen how unique the temple's structure is. Now let's get into the story behind it. And for that, we have to go way back to the epic age of the Mahabharata.
So the story kicks off with our main character, Hidimba. And like we said, she wasn't born a goddess. She was a Rakshasi, a powerful, often pretty fearsome, spirit of the wild forests.
But her entire life just completely transforms when she meets the heroic prince Bhima. She falls in love, they get married. But after he eventually has to leave, she doesn't just fade out of the story. No way. She stays right here on this very spot and performs intense meditation for years and years. And through that spiritual devotion, she actually transcends her origins. She attains divinity and becomes the benevolent guardian of the whole region. What a powerful story of personal evolution.
Okay, so we have the myth. Now let's see how this sacred spot goes from a mythological site to a center of actual royal power and recorded history.
And here's the pivotal moment. The year is 1553. The local king, Maharaja Bahadur Singh, makes it official. He builds the wooden temple that we still see today. And he wasn't just putting up a monument. He was anchoring his entire kingdom's spiritual identity right here, to this exact spot.
So you can really see the journey here. It starts way back in the epic era with the myth, then gets solidified by a king in 1553, and from there she becomes the official protector deity for the entire Kulu dynasty. What's so amazing is that because of how remote it is, the building has stayed architecturally pure. It's a direct, untouched link back to its 16th century origins.
But don't think for a second that this is just some dusty relic or a museum piece. The goddess and her temple are a vibrant, living, breathing part of the community, even today.
And the best example of this is the annual Dungri Mela. I mean, every May, the whole valley just erupts in celebration for Hidimba's birthday. It's this huge festival with folk dances, music, ancient rituals, the whole works. Her presence is so important that she also plays a key role in the even bigger regional Dussehra festival. And her influence goes even deeper into daily life. For so many local families, she is their Kul Devi, their ancestral protector. Farmers won't even start planting their crops without seeking her blessing first. People pray to her for everything, from a happy marriage to just a safe journey through those dangerous mountain passes. She is completely woven into the fabric of everyday life here.
All right, so let's tie all of these threads together. What are the really big takeaways from this incredible place?
Well, to really get it, here are a few final, fascinating details. First, there's no idol inside the temple. Instead, all worship is focused on a sacred rock that has what's believed to be Hidimba's footprint on it. That focus on a natural element just reinforces her deep connection to the earth. Also, her temple's very existence is unique. It's super rare for a supporting character from the Mahabharata to be the focus of so much devotion. And finally, that devotion extends to the entire forest around the temple, which is protected by the community as a sacred grove.
Ultimately, this temple is so much more than just a building. One source we looked at put it perfectly, saying it's a living example of how Himalayan ecology, epic mythology, tribal traditions, and royal patronage merged into a unique spiritual culture. It's where the land, the stories, and the people all become one.
And that kind of leaves us with a final thought to chew on. In our world of concrete and code, what can a temple like this, a place born from a forest, a myth, and a community, teach us about resilience, about adaptation, and about the incredible, lasting power of stories that are literally rooted in the land itself?